everybody, it's me, Margaret, and I am wearing my easy scarf, completed easy scarf. But it's riddled with mistakes, but you can't see them, can you? No, as my mother used to say, it'll never be noticed on a galloping horse. You know, sometimes you'd have a little catch on something or whatever, and I'd be self-conscious about it, and she's right. When something is put into action here, it's all wound up, you really can't notice them. Now, Erin had taught me about sewing your ends in and leaving, don't cut them until after you block your piece. Bentley's barking at something. And so I haven't trimmed them. I did sew my ends in. I want to tell you that I'm very proud of the blue. I did a great job on the blue. That was the side where you began with like 4 stitches and then you just increased as you went. Then when I got to the silvery gray, I don't know what happened, but I kept making mistakes here and there, and so you'll see things like that hole. I did have a knot in this yarn, which is very noticeable because it's such a thin yarn. And I had some issues. There's another hole. I had some issues at the join here, but it looks pretty good, to be honest. But I know they're there. I just have to really search for them to find them. But anyway, I'm very pleased with it. Love this wool-like. It was impeccable wool-like yarn that I got from Michael's. It was something ridiculously cheap, like $1.99 for 1,000,000 yards. And it feels great. So I'm really looking forward to washing that, blocking it, and see what it does. So I thank you, Diane, Farm Wife 99, who gifted me this pattern, who encouraged me to practice my goal. Remember, I had goals at the beginning of the year of tiny needles, tiny yarn. So this was great. I had a lot of practice with that goal and have a great scarf to use when it was all over. So that's a success. Now I'm experimenting with something. You'll see this microphone right here. It's actually part of a set of earphones. I'm outside. We have yard people, not yarn, across the way. Geese honking on the lake. And if we were to have a grass cutter, I'm going to see if I can't record on separately and put the sounds together. I think this will be louder, I'm not sure, and clearer. So you're my guinea pig. I'd like to apologize for saying that I'm going to post weekly videos and then not following through with that. It seems like at least once a month I have to skip at least 1 week. I did warn ya in some past videos that spring is really bad for us. It's a very busy time. So I'm doing the best I can. But you know, just life gets in the way. Now, I want you to know that I really tried hard to film last week, but we were having some work done all around the house. Besides having the whole back landscape redone, we were having work done on the generator. Well, in order to fix the generator, you had to turn the power off. When you turn the power off, then the phones get cut off because we're on that whole cable commotion, so you know how that goes. So when that went off, then the alarm system, which is hooked into the phones, would go off, and it had this terrible beep. Very annoying sound that happens when the phones are cut off. Then I thought, well, I could record outside, except for the fact that the generator was being worked on, and when they would turn it on, it would make this horrendous sound that could be heard either indoors or outdoors. And we have the generator. Now, it's not working right now, but in a few minutes it's going to kick on, and you can hear it from the other side of the house. And I couldn't sit outside because Mr. Roger was mowing our yard. And then, of course, we have the lawnmower man in my own yard that's making all kinds of racket. Have you ever wondered why a simple doctor's appointment seems to take the whole afternoon? Well, you know, first of all, I was there for 2 hours. Yes, 1 to 3. But you have to allow your drive time, so I left at 12:30. When I got out at 3, I had to go straight over to the school and pick Thomas up for 3:30. So we ended up we rolled in the door at 10 till 4. So my whole afternoon was shot. And of course, the morning is taken up with doing stuff that you just have to do around the house. So you people who work on a regular basis, I don't know how you find time to get this done. Okie dokie. So what do I have here to show you? Well, first of all, Erin had done this really cute little hat and had a flower on the side, and I thought, oh, that's so precious. I'm going to crochet that little hat. Well, I didn't end up crocheting a hat. I ended up with a bag. The yarn I used was Caron 1 pound. And you know, Caron 1 pound does tend to be a little heavier than a little thicker than your average worsted weight. Of course, I didn't bother to check my gauge. Of course, I was watching TV and wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I knew it had to be a slouchy, so it was supposed to be bigger than my eye is normally used to. But this is just ridiculous. So this was a failure. But of course, the way I look at it, no time spent crocheting or knitting is a failure because I get the pleasure out of doing the project in general. So I think of this now as, ooh, free yarn to turn into something else. And on that same note, I was playing with the idea of a ladybug hat with the big, thick, what do I do? 4 strands of like a super bulky hat. I have a tutorial for the super bulky hat if you're interested, but I was playing it with the idea of a ladybug hat, and this just didn't come out right. I didn't like the way it was too high up here or something. I don't know what I was doing. So I tried it again, and it did come out better. So these are just little circles. Again, I was just playing. I don't care for my antennas, but I don't know. They're okay. They'll do. And they will go to my charity. Now, here's an interesting story about that. We had at Family Night Supper, which is, we do this at our church every other Wednesday. We have a small church. And the director of MADCAP, which is Madison Countyans Allied Against Poverty, came to speak. And that's the charity, my main charity that I give to. So while she's doing her slideshow and everything, up pops some pictures of some of the recipients of my donations. And she said, I believe it was somebody in this church who had knitted and crocheted a whole bunch of hats. And of course, you know, it was me. And that was fun. But she said they were so well received, and she particularly, they got the biggest kick out of the character hats and things like that. Even the adults were choosing this. Now, one of the ladies in particular had cancer, and she was so excited to have her hat, and she chose the matching scarf, which later, after the presentation, the director told me they really got excited about the matching sets. But she said, I don't mean to put pressure on you to do that. I said, no, I'll be happy to do that. I do that for Yolanda Soto Lopez and the orphanage children that she does, so I'm going to have to make more scarves. But this particular lady had no heat, so it was very important for her to have warmth. So that was well received, and warmth is a big deal. Even down here in the South, we get some really cold temperatures. As a matter of fact, she told us about another house where the walls did not meet the floors in most places. I was going to say in certain places. In most places, like you could just look through. The water in their toilets would freeze. I mean, we're talking extreme poverty. So anyway, to make a long story short, that was exciting, and makes you motivated, you know, to keep working. Another thing she pointed out, which I have mentioned before, is when you give your donations, you want to think of them as a gift. So you don't want to just, for instance, I would not give anybody this crazy creation, unless, of course, I turned it into a really cute purse or something, which I don't want to do. So she pointed out that people will just donate their rags. You know, they just keep one big bag, and as the kids are outgrowing stuff, they just throw it in there. Old t-shirts with holes in them, stains. No, no, no. She said, think of it this way. If you wouldn't give it to your neighbor, then don't give it to Madcap. Because they end up just having to either clean with those things or throw them away, because nobody wants to be walking around looking like that. So keep that in mind. If you have blatant errors in your hats, then they're probably not going to want those either. So now here's something that's fun. Everybody's doing the Handbrake cowl. The knitters are. If you've been living under a rock, then I'll tell you that this was designed by Kay Jones and Dan Jones. Dan had cancer, and they designed this cowl. I think it only cost £1 British pound. And all the proceeds are going to cancer research. So right when it was released, Sarah Hepworth gifted me the pattern. It was just a surprise, popped in my box. And so I have been working on that. Now this one in particular is very special to me, first of all, because Sarah gifted me the pattern. Secondly, the yarn was gifted to me by Erin. It's, what is this called? KnitPicks Chroma worsted in the Vermont colorway. And I was really hesitant about using it because of the stripes. I thought maybe it wouldn't show the pattern. You can see the pattern. The pearls make a diagonal across it. And it turned out really well. And then thirdly, because the proceeds go to cancer research. And that is important because cancer is all over my family. So there you go. Now I liked this pattern so much. It's easy, it's a great beginner project. And I especially like doing cowls for a beginner project because you don't have to worry about decreases like you do when you do a hat. And when I say beginner project, probably you would want to start with not in the round. This is done in the round, so this is a great first in the round project once you've mastered knitting and purling. So I loved it so much that then I made another one. Now this one came out a little bit bigger because the yarn was a little bit thicker. Now I used the exact same needles, but you can see it's a little bit longer. And this yarn was gifted to me by Claire, Bob Wilson 123. Do I have it the right way? Yes. This is, she gave it to me at Christmas time, and it is nylon and Angora. So I have two special scarves, special cowls that represent 3 people, or 4 people actually. So Sarah, who gifted it to me, Erin, who gave me the yarn, Claire, who gave me this yarn, and Dan and Kay Jones, who don't have a clue who I am, by the way, but I watch their podcasts and I appreciate the donation that they're making for 100% of the proceeds going to cancer research. Now I've got 2 new things coming to my channel. The first thing is product reviews. I have several companies who have sent me some things to try out and review on my channel. Bijou Basin, Meadow Wool, and Feel Good Yarn Company are 3 that I've got. And of course there's nothing I can say about it right now because I haven't tried it or used it. So I'll give those reviews, look forward to those soon. And then the other one is a surprise, and I hope to get that explanation video up today, as a matter of fact, or tomorrow. I better not push my luck. So be looking for that this week. It's a special invitation to you. I was talking about my goals a little while ago, and I have checked, and I'm up to 9,236 grams that I have used so far. I have also used 2 yarns from my fancy yarn collection, which was the goal. Well, 10,000 grams is my goal. Once I reach that, plus using the 2 nicer yarns, which I have done, I get to use the yarn that I bought at the really good price. So, my new yarns. So, I am really close. And I don't count things like this, of course. Yes, I did do all of this, but it's a failure. So, I'm only counting completed projects. So, yeah, when I get to 10,000, I can dig into the new yarn. The other day, I bought this toy for Bentley from Walmart. It was, I don't even remember what it was, like $3 and something. Maybe it was $6 and something. I don't remember. But upon further investigation, you know what it is that t-shirt yarn. Look at it. Can you see? The t-shirt yarn. There's a ton of videos on YouTube that show you how to make this t-shirt yarn. I used it to crochet out of old t-shirts. I did fatter strips though, and I used it to crochet a little mat for the cats. But basically all it is, I think it's like, let me count this for you here. 3, 6, 9, 12, it's 15. It's 15 strands twisted together. See, it's just a twist. Twisted together like that. So there's 3 twisted together, I should say, and then tied in knots. So if you've got old t-shirts, you can make dog toys out of this. Pretty cool, huh?
Do you love Mom? Yes. Do you like this rat? Yes. Do you want to stay home while I take Thomas to school? No. You do.
Now, I don't know who started it, but somebody has begun a hashtag on Instagram that is Knitters Get Fitter. And I really like it because our hobby is very sedentary. And there are so many pros to getting up and moving. Now, I'll be the first to tell you I hate exercise, but I'll also be the first to tell you that we got to do it. Our bodies are meant to move. They are not meant to be sedentary. So if you're on Instagram, you know, do some exercise, get outside or whatever, take a picture and put hashtag Knitters Get Fitter. I wish I knew who started that so I could give them some kudos. But I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. Well, actually, I've already been trying to work on the getting fitter part. But today is the first day in a while that we've actually had pretty sun. We've been chilly and rainy. Now, obviously, you can see me with my sweatshirt on here. It's chilly. So that's okay. I can live with that. It's supposed to get up to like 70 degrees today, though. But I need to get outside and not only maybe, you know, hit the streets, do some walking, but we had a big storm and there's all kinds of limbs down in my yard, just little whatever. And so I'm going to clean that up. That's moving too, right? Getting up, carrying, moving, hauling, dumping, all of that is movement too. So start small, especially if you are not an active person to begin with. Start small, start slowly, and work yourself up into being able to walk a mile, walk 2 miles, walk 3 miles, whatever you can handle. Don't watch The Biggest Loser and see how they're pushing and say, well, I'm going to just push myself. Not unless you have a trainer or a doctor or somebody nearby, because you could injure yourself. But it's always best to say, I did better than I did the day before. Okay, so you just go a little bit, and your push needs to be a little bit more each day. If you're not even into that, just say, look, I'm not sitting still. The main thing is we've got to get up off the couch. And I really want to applaud those people who can knit and walk at the same time. What? I can't do that. So what I do is podcasts. And the original word podcast meant only audio, and you would always say video podcast if you were going to insinuate a show that is on YouTube or iTunes. And that keeps me entertained, and I listen to all different sorts of things. Some people want to listen to music that's motivating me. I listen to, I learn. I like to learn. So This American Life is a wonderful podcast. And what is that one? The Satellite Sisters. They are hysterical. They're real sisters. And they have a very successful radio show. And the recording of it is downloadable on iTunes. So, and then of course Disney podcast, because I am a Disney person. I just love everything about it. Anything. Now, of course, there's also, I'm a fitness buff, so you got Jillian Michaels and different things like that. If you are into religion, there's also wonderful sermons and teachings, Bible studies that you could listen to. Why I'm even bringing this up is because if you don't want to exercise, then you got to do something to entertain yourself while you're doing it. So that's one of the ways, that I get through it, is to have something entertaining my mind and keeping me wanting to be out there. So just a trick. So that's all I've got for this week. Look for the changes coming to my channel soon. I'm really excited about those. And I guess I'll see you soon. Bye.